Well, at least the Blazers will always have the memory of November 5th, 2025, when the Thunder came into town and the Blazers got a massive victory over a defending champion and one of the best teams in the NBA, because that is all but a memory after what happened tonight in Oklahoma City as the Blazers travel to OKC and get walloped 122-95. Welcome into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you this evening. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, or the new fancy text line. Just grab your phone and text 88528 with all your Blazer takes, and we'll talk about them on the show. A rough night for the Blazers, but as we talked about in the pregame show, kind of expected this one. So many people out. No Shaden Sharp, no Drew Holiday, obviously no Scoot Henderson, no Matisse Thybulle, no Blake Wesley, no Robert Williams, as he was dealing with the left knee injury management, so he wasn't going to be available. Donovan Clingan was questionable, but he was a late add to the game, so they did have him. Unfortunately, he did not repeat the success that he had over the last two games. It was a rough night for DC. It was a rough night all the way around for the Trailblazers as they score the fewest points they've scored all season, 95, and also suffer the worst loss of the year, 122-95, at the hands of the Thunder. Really, this game kind of started and ended in the first quarter. The Thunder were up 39-18, much like when they met in Moda Center, where it was a 20-point game after the first quarter. But this one did feel different because the Blazers just couldn't get anything going. The offense was sputtering, to put it best, and we knew that with the lineups that they had and the people that were out, that getting that offense to start churning was going to be rough. In that first quarter, the Blazers shot 33%. That compared to the 66% from the Thunder. Blazers took 21 shots, as did the Thunder, but the Thunder made 14 of them. A rough night all the way around. Let's take a look at the box scores on the OKC side of things. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he played 30 minutes. He had 37 points, 7 assists, 5 boards, and 2 steals. Chet Holmgren had 5 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 blocked shots. Lou Dort had 5 points, a steal, 3 rebounds, 7 points, 15 boards from Isaiah Hartenstein, 7 points from Kassan Wallace. Isaiah Joe chipped in 10, and AJ Mitchell chipped in 20 off of the Thunder bench. On the Blazers side of things, Toumani Camara, rough night, 4 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block. So defensively, there's a few things there to like, but it was just pretty, all around just meh. It's when you're struggling, didn't take a ton of shots. He was 2 of 6, but we've said this multiple times. Need more than 4 points out of Toumani Camara. He is your starting small forward. You need him to get going. He couldn't get it going tonight. Donovan Clingan, after a couple nights of nice double-doubles and 20-point performances and 20 rebound nights, struggled a bit. 8 points, 8 rebounds, did have 2 assists. He was 2 of 5 from the floor. Take away his 2 for 4 from beyond the arc means he was 0 for 1 inside the painted area. He should absolutely not be playing all his spots on the outside. He should be playing, getting in and having some fun with it. Sidy Cissoko, he had 7 points, 3 assists, 2 boards, 11 points, 5 rebounds for Denny Avdia, 10 points for Ryan Rupert off the bench, 9 points for Chris Murray, 8 points each for Caleb Love and Young Hansen. Overall, again, rough night to say the least. Blazers ended the night 34 of 92, good for 37% from the floor. They were 12 of 47 from beyond the arc, 25% when the math is checked out. On the other side, the Thunder were 45 of 85, good for 52.9%, 15 of 36, or 41% from beyond the arc. And we talked about how you can't afford to have off shooting nights. We've talked many a times that if the 3-point shot ain't falling, find a way to get away from it. Maybe go into the paint more, do your thing. They live by it. They die by it. When the offense is firing, which we have seen, things are good. Things are good. Things can be fun. When they are not firing, things can be brutal. Brutal. And that's what it was tonight as the Blazers fall to the Thunder in OKC, 122-95. We're going to take a quick break here on the fifth quarter. When we come back, we're going to hit you with our drive of the night, shot of the night. Still got Coach's Corner and a game ball to hand out. Plenty more coming up. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620. Excuse me. Had some peanuts before the show. I think there's a piece there still ready to get lodged in my throat. My goodness. Don't choke on air, my friend. What a night. That's my performance behind the mic is about as good as some of those offensive performances tonight. Just a little brutal when you need to hit a big shot. Can't even get a closing sentence out. I got to call timeout. That's also what a commercial break is. But remember, 503-248-0620. Also, 88528 is that fun new text line. And of course, you go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and join the chat there. Don't go anywhere. We'll be plenty more coming up here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Goodness gracious. Ooh, get that peanut out of there. We'll be right back.
Get it in from the near side. Finds Optia up top. Around to the wing. To the elbow. Looks for the near corner for Grant. Same spot. That's up and out. Kamara flies in with the putback slam.
For your Portland Trailblazers tonight as they go into Oklahoma City and fall to the fall to the Thunder. Excuse me. Wish the Thunder fell to the Trailblazers, but the Thunder grabbed the win, 122-95. And honestly, the outcome isn't really surprising in the fact that we all expected this to be a rough outing with no point guards, a lot of healthy bodies out, and not a lot in that rotation against a healthy OKC team. You knew it was going to absolutely be a rough night, not to mention a Thunder team that was probably looking for a little bit of revenge because the only blemish on their record happened earlier this month at Moda Center. So they were coming in ready to go, the Blazers. I don't think it's that they weren't ready to go. I want to be very, very clear on that. I just think that it didn't really matter if they were or were not. It was going to be hard to win that ball game. We knew what that was going in, but at the same time, it's the NBA. Anything can happen. Just look at what happened against Golden State. I don't think a lot of people gave the Blazers a chance in that one, but they went and got a dub. And the thing is, for those to happen, you have to play absolute perfect basketball when you are missing so many key pieces. And in that game, Caleb Love had a great game, dropped a career-high 20+, was shooting well from the floor. Tonight, not so much. He was 3 of 13, 1 of 8 from beyond the arc, just 8 points. Like, he's either super, super hot or he's super cold. And tonight, he was super cold. No one on the team was exceptionally hot except Jeremy Grant. He was 6 of 8 from the floor. So, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Denny, who's been incredible, was 4 of 16. Donovan Clingan, who's been finding ways to get mass production, was just 2 of 5. And I will contend that I think it's ridiculous that Donovan Clingan, the 7-foot big man, who is quite often, most times, the biggest man on the floor, took 5 shots in this one. 4 of them were from beyond the arc. I know the man has bricks for hands down low, but I want to see him get in the paint, work that back to the basket, work on that game. You are the biggest dude on the floor. I think him taking all those threes is crazy to me. I don't like that. I want an old school big man in my life. That's what I want. I want an old school big man. I need DC to give that to me. So it was just a rough night. I don't know if it gets any better because they get to turn around and tomorrow they get to play the Milwaukee Bucks. That's a very good team. And, it's a team that I think is going to make the Blazers work. It's a team that the Blazers can absolutely beat because guess what? They've been dealing with injuries too. They're just 8-9. There's 8-9. I know I just said very good team, but I think that team, especially with Giannis and when they're healthy, is better than their record shows and should be better. But they've been dealing with injuries and struggling, and they've lost 4 in a row. But those 4, they lost to Cleveland, they lost to Detroit. There's some good teams there. Lost to the Lakers. Like they are dealing with it too. Not like Portland though. Portland is, hey, this is the year we're going to be good. We're not going to tank. I'm not saying they're tanking, but oh no, here comes the injuries again. Makes it just a rough watch, and you got to take what you can. Now, the Bucks, they did lose to the Pistons in their last game, as we talked about just a second ago, and they don't have Giannis. They're led right now on the floor by Bobby Portis and Kyle Kuzma. Miles Turner is in there, who was their offseason acquisition. Like they are leaning on Antetokounmpo, but it's Thanasis, not Giannis. So that has an impact to how your team plays when you don't have arguably one of the best players in the world. It's going to be a rough night for you most nights, and that's what happens when you don't have Giannis. But they're still good enough to go win ball games. That's why they're just under 500, just like the Blazers are good enough to go win ball games. So maybe this is the one you get. You go back on the court on Monday, play a team that you maybe match up a little better against, a team that is dealing with injuries as well, and a team you could take advantage of. The only negative is the Blazers played tonight. Tomorrow is a back-to-back. They're second in a week. Well, Milwaukee did not play tonight, so they're coming off a little bit of rest. But who did play tonight? Let's take a look at the scores around the league. First off, with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the Suns have a 93-84 lead over the San Antonio Spurs. Devin Booker with 20 points. De'Aaron Fox has 19 for the Spurs. The Suns suddenly outperforming what most people thought they were going to be this season. They're sitting at 10-6, looking to improve upon that with 10 minutes left in the fourth. Also, the Lakers have an 87-82 lead over the Utah Jazz. Luka Doncic with 25 points, 7 assists. Keontae George leading the way for Utah with 24 points. Blazer fans are going to not want to listen to this one because the Heat beat the 76ers 127-117. And the 76ers are led by Trendon Watford, 19 points, 8 boards, 7 assists. He's been having some highlight games. Also, the Miami Heat were led by Norman Powell. So, former Blazers just going out there putting on shows. And Trendon Watford, he's had his ups and downs in Philadelphia, but he's had a couple of these games where he just all of a sudden just goes ham and fills the stat sheet. And you're like, oh, I like what I saw. Why don't you give me more of that? It was earlier this month against Toronto. He had 20 points, 17 rebounds, and 10 assists. That's pretty good. Go on, Trendon. Have yourself a ball game. Also, final scores, the Hawks 113, the Hornets 110. Knoepel had 28 and 6. And the Celtics, 138-129 victors over the Orlando Magic. Jaylen Brown had 35 points, 8 assists. The Cavaliers and the Clippers, another loss, as the Clippers are now 5-12 on the year. Donovan Mitchell, 37 points, 8 boards, 6 assists. Ivica Zubac had a 33.18 rebound double-double. And the Raptors, 119. The Nets, 109. The Raptors at 12-5, I think, surprising a few people as well. Scotty Barnes, 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 blocks. And the only other game tonight, Oklahoma City with a 122-95 victory over your Portland Trailblazers. This is the fifth quarter. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also text 88528 and send me your thoughts there. And last but not least, head over to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, join the chat there, where Sean says the Portland Trail Mixers are no match for the OKC Thunder. I'm just glad they didn't get walloped by 60. Well, you know what? First off, Trail Mixers does nothing except make me hungry, so thank you for that. And then, yeah, I think it could have been worse. The win that they did have, you got to keep in mind, how that went and the healthy bodies that they had in the moment and who was available and who wasn't. This game, they are lacking just a lot of firepower and a lot of starters, and that's a recipe that, it's the NBA. You're going to maybe win some games, but you're going to take some on the chin in that situation too. In that game against Oklahoma City earlier that they won, they had their normal starting lineup. Drew, Shea, Donovan, Denny, too. It means they had Jeremy Grant off the bench. And so they had a healthy Robert Williams. So things were able to go. Now, Robert only played 3 minutes, but they were able to play their game is what I'm saying. And that impacts these type of games. Absolutely, this impacts these type of games. So, yeah, they could have been worse, but it wasn't. So you just take it, you deal with it, you move on, you enjoy the moment, and it is what it is. You wish they would have played better. You wish they would have won. You wish they wouldn't have had their worst loss of the season. But I think you also understand situationally that game was just going to be a tough game. It was going to be a tough game out of the jump. And you know what? Maybe you learn from it. Hope you do. A lot of young guys getting some run. Young Hansen getting in there. Ryan Rupert, who's been in and out of the rotation, looked decent in his minutes. So there's some things you can take advantage of and enjoy. But overall, not the way you wanted to perform. This is the fifth quarter. We're going to take a quick break here, and we're going to come back, hit you with the coach's corner, hand out a game ball and all that, and we'll get to our phone calls real quick. So if you're on the line, stay there. I'll get you in just a sec. But before we head to break, it is time for our shot of the night.
Sissoko.
Hey, you just pump the brakes, Burkhardt. There's more to that intro. Now, it's time for your shot of the night.
Sissoko. Out to Hansen. He puts up a three-pointer. Buries it. First three-pointer of young Hansen's career.
Item that was only available if you were at the game, and they're so limited, Christina, that I didn't even get one. I only have one glass. It's Shade and Sharp, and that was because the Blazers were kind enough to give it to us to promo on the radio station, and Chad's like, yeah, you can have it. Other than that, I don't have one. Those Jeremy Grant glasses were tough to get, and you had to be at the game to get them. And other than that, I don't know. I do think that, the Blazers should take the time, take those glasses, start selling them, because people love them. People absolutely love them because they love the original runs back in the day, Dairy Queen. Like, that's what they should start doing. I know these are incentives to come to the game, buy your ticket, get a glass, but man, you start putting these, go to Dairy Queen. Every large Blizzard comes in a Blazers pint glass. Heck yeah, people start buying Blizzards again. The Jeremy Grant glass did look pretty darn good, though. So we'll try. If we can get one, we'll try to help you out. But I can't even get one. I'm trying, though. But we'll be on the lookout. All right. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is that telephone number. And YouTube.com, where you can jump in on the conversation there, where Kenny says the Thunder have the second most games lost to injury this season in 95 games. Their second best player hasn't played this season. They are 17-1. I don't see anyone beating them this year. That's a take. That's a take, and it's a good one. This team is so special in the fact that they don't miss a beat. Like, they roll. When you watch them live. I mean, the way they go through their rotations, Coach Dagnall has them in a spot where, they kind of are like one. They're like one entity. It's not five guys together. It's just one entity, a basketball team that just flows and moves and plays so well together. And doing this without Jalen Williams, like you said, it's a big piece. And Chet Smith's games here and there, and they've gone through. But man, they're young, they're talented, and the biggest thing is they play together. Chemistry matters so much in this game. I will go back to the Blazer teams of the late 20 teens. And those teams, like top end talent wise and depth wise, weren't as good as some of the teams they were playing. But the chemistry that guys like Dame and Mo and CJ and Al-Farouq Aminu had with one another, the chemistry that Yusuf Nurkic had with Damian Lillard prior to the very, very unfortunate leg injury, like that, the chemistry let those teams succeed. Now, unfortunately, they met the absolute buzzsaw that was the Golden State Warriors multiple times in the playoffs. But I do think that team as a whole far outkicked its coverage, so to speak, because chemistry mattered. They won a lot of games, and they got really good performances out of guys like Mo Harkless and Al-Farouq Aminu because their chemistry was so good. And I think you look at what happened after that 2019 team, fell apart, and they all went their separate ways. Granted, there was other reasons for some of it, but Myers Leonard was part of that team. He played a year or two. He did have obviously the incident on Twitch, but playing wise, his days were done. Like, he wasn't making rotations. Maurice Harkless, I mean, he played with the Rip City Remix a season or two ago, just trying to get back into the NBA because he didn't last long. Al-Farouq Aminu didn't last long. Evan Turner ends up retiring. It's like that team just was right. at the moment and got a lot out of that team, squeezed a lot of juice out of it, and chemistry was the reason why. And I think that's what makes Oklahoma City so dangerous, is their ability to just play as one collective unit. It's really, really impressive. All right, this is the fifth quarter. Well, I've done a lot of talking. Let's hear from Tiago Splitter. It's time to go to the coach's corner.
They could get to their spots, SGA to get to his spots and free throws, and then offensively we couldn't get anything. Our guys couldn't make shots. We know they shrink the paint, and that's their philosophy. Eliminate those shots at the rim, but sometimes we couldn't find our shooters, and when we find it, we couldn't make them. So, one of those nights that shot was not falling.
The SGA is always going to be able. He's so great at getting to the line and drawing fouls. How do you feel like you guys did in terms of defending him physically as you want to defend, while also trying not to send him to the line over and over again?
Yeah, I think we made some mistakes with jumping on pump fakes. But overall, you cannot be less aggressive, being afraid of fouling him, right? Like, it's part of the game, foul. You're going to foul. He has the ball a lot on his hands, so you got to be aggressive. I just come mad at those, jumping those pump fakes.
What did you think of Young Hansen's minutes tonight? Do you feel like he's got a lot out of the remix?
Well, it was good for him to go there and compete against a very good team and see the physicality of the game and slowly getting more comfortable with the ball. And I think we didn't see yet all his talent with passing the ball and stuff like that. He got a couple of good one-on-ones in the post. We tried to use him as a hub on the middle of the court and post him up a couple times. Still developing for sure.
The one tomorrow night versus the Bucks in Milwaukee. What do you guys need to do, particularly that maybe you didn't do tonight, to go into Milwaukee and give yourselves a better chance?
Yeah. I think I think we played very slow tonight. Afraid to drive it and kick it out. I think we were too careful. Something that cannot happen tomorrow. We got to be more aggressive. That's our game. That's how we play. We get too cute with the ball, and it's not us. So I think we got to get better at that.
Don't get cute with the ball. That's what Tiago says. And hey, they knew what they were getting into. They knew it was going to be a rough game, and yeah, it was exactly what it was. As Denny Green would say, they are who we thought they were. I don't think the Blazers let him off the hook in this one, though. If you know, you know. All right, we're going to get out of here in a few minutes. But before we do, it is time to hand out our game balls. Yeah, I think tonight it's pretty simple. The game ball has to go to Jeremy Grant. He's the only Blazer that, kind of showed up and, scored in bunches and played with efficiency. 6 of 8 from the floor, 2 of 4 from beyond the arc. He had a few rebounds, got the assists in there, got a steal, did his thing, 21 points, and no one else was really going. 3 of 13 from Caleb Love, 4 of 16 from Denny Avdia. Rough nights all the way around. I did like that Young Hansen was aggressive. He was 3 of 11, but it's one of those nights, as we've said multiple times, that again, if the offense ain't churning, this Blazer team is going to struggle. As you see, first time not hitting 100 points this year. 95 points overall. Not great at all. Just 18 assists. And you look at the Golden State game when they had 30. That hurts you. You're not moving the ball. You're not finding ways to score. You're not doing what you need to do. A rough night for your Trailblazers. Biggest lead of the night was 36 for Oklahoma City for your Blazers. It was just 4. All right, Blazer fans, that's going to do it for tonight's episode of the fifth quarter, because we get to go to bed and do it all again tomorrow. Aren't you excited? You should be, because I do think the Blazers have a very real chance, even shorthanded, of being competitive and winning that ball game against the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee without Giannis, dealing with a couple injuries themselves. So I think the Blazers could definitely go in and take advantage. It's the final game of this quick little road trip. Then they return home for 2 home games to wrap up the month of November against the San Antonio Spurs and this pesky Oklahoma City Thunder team. That game tomorrow against the Bucks, 5 o'clock tip-off, which means I will have Blazers game day for you starting at 3 o'clock. Once again, the Blazers go to Oklahoma City and fall to the Thunder 122-95. Rip City, I'll talk to you tomorrow.